Good morning, crammers. It is Tuesday, December 17th, and I am here to read you your morning cram. So without further ado, here are the highlights. India students are pushing back. Why? The background. Last week, India passed a law that hands citizenships to undocumented immigrants from 3 neighboring countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh. But with a slight catch. The law only applies to people who are not Muslim, even though these 3 countries are considered Muslim majority. You heard that right. India's government says the law is meant to protect religious minorities from persecution, but much of India isn't so sure. Scene set. The happenings. Over the past few days, students all across India have been taking to the streets in protest of this new law. Spoiler, things have gotten violent. More than 100 students have been injured, with police storming multiple universities to break up these protests. And even outside of these schools, dozens of people have been arrested as clashes have erupted between protesters and police. Metro stations have been closed, along with all schools and colleges in some districts. The reaction. A Muslim political party, plus a few right groups, are taking things to the Supreme Court. And meanwhile, a group of opposition leaders are getting together with India's president, Ram Nath Kovind, to discuss the protests and how they've escalated into violence. So what's next? The protests are getting increasingly violent each day, to be determined on if there's an end in sight. Time for the action. Politics. Meet Pakistan's former president, Pervez Musharraf. Back in 1999, Back in 1999, Musharraf took control of the country in the military coup and stayed in control until 2008. Problem? Since Musharraf was accused of violating Pakistan's constitution by illegally declaring emergency rule when he was in power, which led to a 6-year legal case. Yesterday, a special court finally made its decision and sentenced Musharraf to death for high treason. Stay tuned. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Boris Johnson is reportedly adding a rule that won't let Parliament delay Brexit past 2020. This is raising concerns that a no-deal Brexit could become a reality. And in other news, Congress is expected to approve $425 million for election security upgrades. In the USA, recently Goldman Sachs said coal is not cool and announced that it will stop funding oil drilling in the Arctic, plus any new coal projects. This comes as more than a dozen of the world's biggest banks have already pledged to stop giving loans to these kinds of projects. High progress! Speaking of which, Boeing will be suspending production of the 737 MAX in January. You know the 737 MAX as the plane type that crashed twice in fall of 2018, leading essentially the whole world to ban it. Not entirely clear on what this latest news means for Boeing and the 737 MAX. And in the other news, much of the U.S. is facing severe weather. At least 3 people were killed due to tornadoes, while a winter storm is spreading to the northeast. World. The first ever long-term study on vaping is now out, and the results bring bad news. As in, people who vape are 30% more likely to develop chronic lung disease, while vapors who smoke cigarettes occasionally face even more health risks. Not good. Speaking of which, a new study conducted by the World Economic Forum says we won't achieve global gender equality for nearly another century if we continue on the same path. Comforting. The study also revealed the most gender-equal country, Iceland, and the least gender-equal countries, Syria, Pakistan, Iraq, and Yemen. So what to know? All I Want for Christmas Is You, what just took the #1 spot on Billboard's Hot 100 for the first time ever. All She Wants for Christmas Is You, and also another #1 hit. That wouldn't be bad too. So, say what? Feral pigs roam the South. Now even North states aren't safe. An actual headline. Hogwash. So, without further ado, that is the end of your cram. I am Kyndall. If you like what you heard, make sure to press that follow button so you can come back and listen again and again. Monday through Friday, I will be here talking to you about the week's news. And if you're not already, subscribe to our email list by pressing the link in bio so you can read more on thecram.com. See you guys tomorrow and have a great day. Bye.